Spencer Lewis here for the APC United Late Model Series, powered by Grisdale Racing Products. Post-race, round number 1, Sunset Speedway, with our 4th place finisher here tonight, the Mastodon, Shawn Chenoweth. Shawn, you were good in practice. You were so good you had the thing up on jack stands after the first session. You were that comfortable with the 89C. Time trialed well, and really were in the mix all day long. I mean, you were able to take a lap off because you were sort of side by side with someone almost all day. 4th place finish at the end, but you just mentioned to me that you should have been a 2nd place car. Talk to me a little bit about your performance and what's got you so down on it.
It's not by far not my best track, but when we got up front, I decided for some reason I should drive around down by the curb, and it felt really good, and it felt like a hero leading, but I used it up, the right front tire up pretty good down there, and then just restarts up here. Opposed to any track I normally race at, restarts, you need to be on the outside up here, and every restart we just seem to be hung on the bottom. We finally got one near the end on the outside, and the young guy there in the 86, he ran really good all day, and he just kind of got squirrely from him on the bottom and slid up in front of me, so we never got that good run back up on the outside into 2nd, but 4th's pretty good for what we came up with for a car that I pretty much written off, and the whole late model thing I didn't want to do no more, but I'm happy with a 4th.
I mean, you mentioned sort of coming into this event, you said that chassis manufacturers might have a hard time selling new cars if you're able to run really well in this old one, and I don't know, there might be some merit to that, because this old, what year is this?
That car was built in 2004.
2000, so the old 2004 Rocket looked awfully good tonight when it was out there against, cars that were really, 2010 and newer is what you were racing against. So the old girl looked to still have a little bit of speed in her.
Yeah, like it. Chassis itself's an 04. Everything on it we've updated throughout the seasons I ran at Flamborough. I can't thank Paul Law enough for calling me up and saying, "Here, come get my car. You're racing it." I mean, if you were going to have a Pro Late and not have your own, this is the one I'm sure lots of guys would love to get into.
Now, how hands-on are you allowed to be with this car, given the fact that it's sort of owned by someone else? Does it stay at your shop? Do you set it up? How does that deal work?
Hands-on wise, this thing goes back to my place. Basically, Paul said, "Come get it. Do what you want to do what you got to do. If it comes home in a basket, we'll figure it out." And so it's kind of like being my car all over again. Like I say, it comes back to my place. I'm not going to take the credit for the way it turns. MRE does a lot of my chassis stuff, helps me out. Because I mean, in this day and age, to run up front, you need some good help, and I'm not ashamed at all to say that MRE is the one putting me out there.
Now, this race, you were very open about the point situation. How Sunset was probably going to be the 2 races that you would give up a lot of ground. Good at Flamborough, you're good at Sauble, you're good at Peterborough. Sunset's always sort of been that sore spot. So for you to come out 4th at a track that you had kind of written off in terms of the points on, has got to get you feeling pretty good, especially given the fact that we're going to Flamborough next. You can make up a lot of ground on a lot of guys in this pit area that probably don't feel very comfortable with going to Flamborough.
Well, here's something you didn't know until just now, Spencer. You knew that Andy Camaroth was supposed to drive the car at Flamborough. And we heard our super late model engine last weekend, so I'm not going to say out of it, but we're, for the better word, out of that deal for the points. I just talked to Andy, and it only makes sense for me to go to Flamborough with this car. I will get Andy Camaroth in one of my race cars for the end of the year, maybe even autumn colors and something. But I think right now where we stand in this deal, we need to play their cards out and see what happens in the next couple races.
Were you surprised at how a lot of the contenders, as it were, struggled today, and maybe a lot of the guys that people weren't really looking at, guys like Billy Schwarzenberg and guys like Matt Bach, sort of rushed to the forefront? Did that surprise you at all as a racer?
It really did, because even like I said, well, I talked to you before here, I expected to come here and be lucky to be 15th. Like, I really don't run that well here. And like you say, Billy Schwarzenberg, I mean, that kid's flying for limited time in a race in one of these race cars. Matt Box, I didn't even know he raced these cars, to be honest with you. I knew he did some stuff, but it wasn't very full time. You had the 22, who's a
Jamie Cox. Cox, you look great tonight.
He's a Delaware car. None of us have really raced at this track, maybe 2 or 3 times. I've never driven a Pro Late Model here till today. So yeah, it was like, obviously I knew when Dwayne Baker got out front, if I would have finished 2nd, that would have been a victory, because that guy's just out on a Sunday drive up here when he's out front. I mean, you're not going to beat him up here.
How much more comfortable are you in these 100-lap races as opposed to the sort of the weekly dashes that a regular late model division does, 30 or 35 laps? Are you more at home with the longer style races where you can come out and sort of get a feel for your car and develop a rhythm?
This car, yes. Like, this thing really works good, and it's really consistent from about lap 10 to 60 or 70. It'll run the same lap times. So I really like the long races for this car. Some of the other cars are fun in the sprints, like the Thunder cars, the little sprint races are fun, but this one, yeah, I'm suited for the long haul.
Now, I remember speaking to you last year about the APC six-pack series, and we both thought it was such a great concept, and Mr. Ramsey and everybody else pulled it off flawlessly. Now, I mean, they have just taken it to a whole other level with this province-wide tour. Give me your opinion on the level of talent that showed up today, and how today's show sort of rolled off to get the first round under our belt the way we did.
The folks from APC and Grisdale's, they put this deal on today, and it was flawless. I mean, everything they set out the way they wanted to do it was all done properly. I really think the way they're doing the tires, they're impounded, all that stuff really takes a lot of the games teams will play with softener and all that shit out of it. So I applaud them, because I mean, up to last year, you could say at Flamborough and Delaware, the Pro Late Model Series was dead. Now you've got a field of 30 cars.
Well, now you got guys that are going out and running and buying Pro Late models. You couldn't give away a Pro Late model for market value a couple years ago.
This car here, I tried to sell 2 years ago after it won everything. I couldn't get $15,000 for it, turnkey. So now you got a whole field of Pro Late models. I really think it's going to get this class going again.
It's a phenomenal touch, I think. Do you think a lot of the guys that ran well today are going to be out of their comfort zone when we go to Flamborough?
I think a lot of guys, every time we go to Flamborough, out of their comfort zone. It's just a tight racetrack, but I mean, you gotta look at Dale Shaw going into Flamborough. You can look at Schwarzenberg. He's been running there at the start of the year. I think we're going to be strong. Baker's run there in the past and run okay, but there's some guys here that haven't run there. But your 3-car from Delaware, your 22, they've all run strong in Flamborough. Critical, obviously, last year lit Flamborough up pretty good, made us look like idiots. So there's not as many guys uncomfortable at Flamborough anymore as you would think, but I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be strong down there when we get back to home.
Thank everybody that makes this possible. You mentioned Paul Law, but I know that there's a whole lot of support that goes even past the Midas of Orangeville team.
Yeah, obviously, like I said again, Paul Law, give me a car to drive, great. Midas from Orangeville. We got London Recreational, Castrol Edge. We got Hitman Hot Rods. We got Wilson Ponds, Bennett GM sponsors everything I drive, so you can't thank them guys enough. They got Bennett GM power under the hood of that thing, and tonight you got her going. Finish Line Concrete's a new sponsor for us this year. They're happy to have them on board. We got Spencer Lewis on that thing back there.
That's 2 tenths right there.
Got Ideal brake pads. The car's beautiful from Pro Wraps, who won Best Appearing Car tonight. So I don't think I'm missing anybody, and we got to thank everybody that APC brings in. That's awesome that guys want to support series like this, and hopefully we get to grow it. And I'm going to take a moment to walk over here. There's Bob. Bob's not asleep. He just looks like he is. That's the reward right there. ImageWraps.ca, Best Appearing Pro Late Model. And the car, for the most part, still looks the same as it did when it rolled off the trailer. That's a good night. Yeah, we need a couple door bar stickers, but I think we can. She's pretty clean.
So there you go. Take that badass trophy home, set it next to the surfboard, reflect on how good of a night this was, and we'll see you at Flamborough in 2 weeks.
Thanks a lot, Spence.
4th place finisher tonight's the Mastodon, Shawn Chenoweth.